Well, welcome everybody to the big fixture, big time rugby back in Newcastle here today at number 2 Sports Ground. We've got the Newcastle Barbarians side taking on the Global Rapid Rugby side, the Western Force. And with us today, Peter Playford. Are you excited, Peter, to be up in Newcastle?
Mate, very excited. Came up this morning, went for a swim down the beach, and really excited for some great rugby.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute tri-fest, I think, today. Both sides willing to throw it around. Of course, these new laws as well with Global Rapid Rugby. It's going to be good.
Yeah, there's a few familiar names that I've seen in both teams, so looking forward to seeing how they go. Perfect conditions, and I think Newcastle will be in for a bit of a show today.
Yeah, well, it seems the only time there's perfect conditions is when the Waratahs or the Wallabies aren't playing here. But, yeah, you're right. Unbelievable. The ground looks amazing. The people here, it's crowded. What's not to like?
No, it'll be a great day. I'm looking forward to seeing how this Newcastle team, which the Barbarian style, comes up against a team that's the professionals, right, coming over here and preparing for their rapid rugby for the year. So I think it'll be a very, very good game, and we should be out for a big spectacle.
Yeah, certainly, and certainly a few players you've seen through the NRC, like Pry's one of them, Abel's another. Yeah, there's plenty of players, and there's plenty of, I guess, fringe Waratahs out in this Barbarian side too. Yeah,
look, the force is definitely serving its purpose. They're contributing in the NRC, but also a few players like Deegan coming across to Melbourne and making his mark there. So, look, they're still around, and I'm sure this rapid rugby will continue to catapult them into higher honours and also support Australian rugby, which is what we need.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need. It's going to be great out here. What are you predicting?
Oh, look, I'm predicting the Force should do it pretty easy considering they're a professional team. But looking around here, the boys seem a bit of energy, and Bubba Coleman leading the troops. You know, having known Darren for a while, they could be anything.
Yeah, definitely. Well, no, last night was anything going to it. But, yeah, definitely. He's the most successful coach here in Newcastle in the modern era. 5 premierships in a row. You can't really go past that at a provincial level.
Yeah, look, I think it's great for these boys to come together and also to give these coaches a chance to step up and see what it's like to perform in this era and this arena. And, you know, I think Bubba's got done some really good things, and anything like his brother, they'll do pretty well.
Yeah, they certainly will. Good to have you here, Peter, all the way up to Newcastle in the Aston Martin. Very good. You're looking windswept, interesting. It's going to be an absolute cracker here on Bar TV Sports. Well, what about that? For intros here live on Bar TV Sports, it is going to be a very big day here at the number 2 Sports Ground, deep in the thick of Newcastle, and the thick of Newcastle has got to number 2 Sports Ground. With us up here is Peter Playford and Drew Mitchell. How are you guys?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you going?
Yeah, very well. Very well. Got a bit of a suntan down there earlier on. Got ourselves to the grain store earlier, 27 beers on tap. We'll be going to the Commonwealth later. It's going to be a great day here. But let's talk about the rugby first. The Western Force coming all the way over on the red eye last night, I believe. No sleep, lack of sleep, taking on this Newcastle Barbarian side, which is littered with a couple of stars out of Sydney, a couple of local players. And it's going to be a very interesting contest where we're expecting both sides to throw the ball around, Peter.
Yeah, look, it's really good to see the Force come across and play against some of the more regional teams. So it's great for Newcastle to get the experience, and it's great for the Force in preparation for their rapid rugby.
And you've been down on the ground there, Drew. It's picture perfect. Little bit of breeze coming across. The southerlies kicking up. The Newcastle doctor, we call it, up here.
Yeah, that's right. As you look at the screen, there'd be a slight breeze going from right to left from the ocean side into inland there in Newcastle. But look, it's perfect conditions. It's going to be quite warm out there, but as they like to do in this rapid rugby competition, they'll be throwing the ball around me, running from everywhere.
And you can see us there on Elders Insurance commentary cam. We're looking an absolute picture. We're very excited. You can see us jumping out of our skins. I tell you what, the Western Force were jumping out of their skins down in the dressing rooms. They had an interesting playlist to get them piped, but I guess that is Global Rapid Rugby, or GRR, as we're going to call it today. That is the ethos behind it. It's plenty of big tunes, big hits, big plays. And we're going to go down. We had a chat to their captain, Ian Pryor, earlier on, and he's explaining how the Force is going and indeed how the season's going to go along for them. Ian Pryor, captain of the Western Force, way over east. How are you feeling about today?
Yeah, good mate, really excited. We had a good hit out last week, first trial, and second one today, so glad to be at the back end of pre-season, looking forward to putting some of the things out in the field that we've been working on.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely exciting. The force back into it. Global Rapid Rugby certainly gaining momentum. How's the team excited about that?
Yeah, very excited, mate. Obviously, first year, full competition, home and away series, and grand final and prize money. So it's been a good couple of years build up, but we're looking forward to the first competition kicking off March 14.
Yeah, certainly. That will be very, very good and looking forward to it. A few new players, new faces in the squad as well. Tell us about those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had a couple of guys come in during the NRC and earn their way into a contract. So you got guys like Jakey Strawn, Byron Ralston, Jonah Classic guys that are all the top of the NRC trialists. So some exciting backs out there. And then we've got a few young guys that came through the pathway in the forwards, Ollie Callahan, Jackson Pugh, which is bearing fruit to our labour in terms of the pathway. So it's really exciting for them.
As far as the rugby community in Perth goes, certainly one that's growing. It's a good international flavour. Is everyone getting behind it now?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've got the third largest juniors in Australia. So, the numbers are there and the pathway's there. And obviously everyone's got behind the force and the story that we're creating there. And Global Rapid Rugby is a part of that now. So, exciting international flavour, a few different teams, a few different venues. But we're excited as players to be part of it and play our part.
Yeah, it should be good. And here's to hoping Newcastle gets the Eastern franchise for Global Rapid Rugby as well. I know that's in big plans. Imagine the rivalry there.
Yeah, absolutely. East versus West would be lovely, and great coastal town. Love Newcastle and the people here. So it's been fantastic hospitality, and hopefully the relationship can continue and to grow into a Global Rapid Rugby one moving forward.
Well, good luck with today. I'm sure you've got a few tries in you, and do you think there's a W?
Yeah, awesome, mate. I don't know about the W, but we'll work hard and see how we go. So it's exciting just to be out here and good crowd, great day for footy. So let's let it rip.
Nice one, see you, mate. Yeah, Ian Pryor with plenty of in-depth knowledge about how the force is going, the rugby community in WA. It was very interesting to hear from him, wasn't it, that Western Australia and Perth indeed has the third largest junior base in Australia.
Yeah, it's good to see they're continuing to invest in the game, and I think long term it bodes well for their involvement in future competitions. And look, we don't even know what the competition space will look like in the next 3 to 5 years. So it's great that they're still going. I think you can tell from their professionalism. They came out here, short, sharp warm-up, and we've still got the Newcastle team out here on the field doing their training session.
I think that's a little bit unfair there, Peter. This is obviously being a bit of a composite team thrown together with local-based players as well as players coming up from the Sydney Shoot Shield, but they're just trying to get out there and get familiar with one another, get a couple of simple, basic calls, because whilst they're going to go out there with the ambition to throw it around and play this rapid rugby style of rugby, they really still need to set a foundation, and then they can play off the back of that.
Yeah, certainly. We had the good chance before to talk earlier to Bubba Coleman, the coach of the Newcastle side, and he said pretty much exactly that. We're going to hear from him in a few seconds here, but you can see them down there warming up. I'll tell you what, I'd rather be up here in the shade. We're going to go. Yeah, I'm warm just looking at them.
You're warming up here.
Well, very good. We're going to go to him now down in the pits. Bubba Coleman. Well, here it is, big-time rugby back in Newcastle. You must be absolutely pumped, Bubba.
Yeah, definitely. It's exciting for the region, that's for sure, and it's what the region's been begging for and screaming for. So hopefully we can deliver, and it puts on a good showpiece and opens up the door for many more things.
Yeah, it certainly does open up for, I guess, dabbling the toe in global rapid rugby, or GRR as we call it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's that's quite exciting times, to be honest. I know the Global Rapid Rugby franchise want to get a team on the East Coast, so where else would you rather go than Newcastle? It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's way better than Perth, that's for sure. As we get into it, there's a good mixture. It's a bit of a barbarian squad you've got out here. A couple of local players they made the cut, which is great as well. Chris Ale, Nick Palmer's back. It's going to be great.
Yeah, definitely. There's about there's 8 of our local boys plus Nick Palmer from Sydney, who did a lot of his footy here. Breno from out at Singleton, Jade Wright, who's a young halfback. There's lots of guys come back from the Newcastle region to be part of this, so it's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And how are you going to get the boys playing here today?
Hopefully entertaining. We're just going to look to throw it around, to be honest. We had our first team run at 9:15 this morning. So, but in saying that, these guys are really good footballers. So we didn't have to do too much. They just went out and played. So we're going to hopefully play a bit of ad-lib footy and a bit of kicking, and the old up and unders come out.
Yeah, talking about going out and getting out and playing. There's obviously a function on the Commonwealth tonight. Everyone get there?
Yeah, most definitely. The Commonwealth Hotel's been a great sponsor of Newcastle Rugby, and they've jumped on board again. They're going to house a few of our rock star players tonight, so if there's any single ladies out there looking for a player, that's where they'll be.
Well, there you go. Very good. Good luck today. I know the Western Force are pumped, and you guys are too. It's going to be an absolute cracker.
Yeah, definitely. This is a Western Force last trial before their comp starts, so I think we're going to feel the heat of what they got to offer. So, yeah, we're confident, and we'll see what happens.
Very good. Thanks very much, Scott.
Thank you very much for Bar TV.
Yes, we're back in action, and as you can see, the crowd is absolutely building. Well, the Newcastle side, they're just coming from the field with a couple of minutes to go before kickoff. It's probably something that Bubba Coleman, 5-time premiership winner, 5 times in a row here in the Newcastle competition. So very good record, as we mentioned before. But they're just coming in now and just hitting the pads, getting the shoulders warmed up. A lot of these guys, it's their first hit out for the season too. And it's games like these, sometimes you dread them, don't you? So you've got to go full ball. So expecting big things, guys.
Yeah, it'll be great. Look, I love Bubba Coleman's energy. He's what epitomises this region. Five-time 5-in-a-row champion.
Have you seen him?
5-in-a-row champion. I think it's a good chance for these guys to go out there and have a run, and they actually look quite good, Drew.
Yeah, they do. Some silky skills out there, and they look to have formed some pretty good combinations. I mean, it's obviously early. We're only watching them unopposed out there in the warm-up, but they seem to be working pretty well together, and I guess the time will tell when they're under a little bit of pressure out there against this Western Force side.
Yeah, it definitely will. Of course, this match doesn't happen without the sponsors: Slattery Auctions, Rams Home Loans, Elders Insurance, the City of Newcastle, and Sharp Electronics, all pitching in, and of course raising money for Run DIPG as well. Big charity here in the Hunter, doing great things for brain cancer research as well. And you can see here out there, it is picturesque here at number 2 Sports Ground. A couple of players out here that I wouldn't mind talking about. Brendan Holiday, the 10, he's had Sydney experience, now playing for the Lake Macquarie Club. There's Nick Palmer, who was in the Waratahs last year, and obviously not making the squad this year, but plenty of big-time experience for him as well. And Chris Ali, he was playing down under Todd Loudon down in Sydney, as well as Ian Pryor, the captain of the Western Force, leads them out. And I tell you what, they look nimble, don't they? A couple of players in there. You've had a bit to do with them, Peter, through the NRC. Who do we have to look out for?
Yeah, look, they look really fit. I think you can look at from being a winger myself. Jonah Placid looks very strong, and Henry Taufu is a very hard ball runner, and it'd be indicative of how they play, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. Up front as well. We know we've seen in the NRC. We saw the Force in the NRC last year as well. Up front, I know this is your forte, Drew.
No, he's a former teammate of mine, Kieran Longbottom. He's going to be really anchoring that scrum and that set piece. He's been around a long time. He's had experience, obviously, with the Western Force, but also went up in the English Premiership competition as well. Plied his trade up there, and he's come back to the Western Force, and he's an absolute anchor in that scrum. So I don't know too much more about the scrum other than he does really well in it.
Yeah, certainly. It'll be a good battle. Marlon Solifudi, he's a former professional player over in Europe as well, now playing with the Lake Macquarie Club, up against Bryn Stander as well, who we know he can do great things off the back of this scrum and really dominated this set piece. I think, if we're going to be honest, it's probably going to be where the Newcastle side is probably going to find themselves a little bit out of their depth, Peter.
Yeah, I think the fitness and playing in these kind of rules will be indicative of how the game goes, but I think the Force need a good run here because they're going into their competition, and as we said before, the Newcastle team are looking forward to putting their hand up and hopefully solidifying a team here in the future.
Yes, and the Newcastle side just playing mind games early on in the season, just holding themselves in the dressing shed.
Well, I think because they got back into the dressing shed so late, they have to go in and do their little last little preparations before they get out there on the field, put their jerseys on, get their mouth guards, and here they are.
Here they come, led by Nick Palmer. Stixie, as he was known here. Won a premiership, I think, with Norths in the Shoot Shield. Hugh Margin out there in the 7 jersey.
Are you tipping that for today? Huge margin.
I didn't want to say it wasn't my joke.
Wasn't mine either, I'll take it.
But there's Nathan Brennan, of course. He came from the Singleton Club, now playing at Eastern Suburbs in Sydney as well. Coming up here to make up the numbers for this Newcastle side. It'll be the Western Force kicking off. Jared Logan, the local referee. And they will be running left to right, the Force, as we say here, the junction end. And number 2 Sports Ground, they go deep, and it is showtime here at number 2 Sports Ground. Finds a bit of space, and early on, That'll be Tavai taking it in. So good line speed showed early on by the Force. Solifudi. He's taken back. 10 metres out, and this is good defence here by the Force. Jackson Pugh getting around. Oh, a little chip over the top by Holiday. Risky stuff early on. And here comes McGregor. McGregor, of course, former Australian schoolboy. Used to play for the Rebels in the Super Rugby under-20s and has come over after the NRC. Very good. Normally a fly half.
Yeah, I think
and a good head of hair.
He just showed that that awareness in the backfield. There's a bit of space there, and they're really just trying to anchor this Newcastle Barbarian side down in their own half. And like you say, he's very sun-smart with a bit of a party at the back.
So Chris Hale with the first row. This will be interesting. You'd think Nick Palmer's probably the go-to man. He's the tall timber, and yes, he is. And that's safety first by the Newcastle side. Ellis Abrahams takes the hit up. Short ball off Holiday. Doesn't look out of his depth so far, the Lake Macquarie fly half. Here's Ale. So bogged down a little bit here, the Newcastle side, but they're willing to chance their arm on the far side. That's Mohi taken close to the touchline, but he stays in. And this is good defence by the Force, isn't it, Peter? Good line speed. Coaching staff will be happy. Comes back to Holiday under pressure. It's an up and under. McGregor comes across. And here he is taking the ball nicely. Looking to link up. Good defensive line there by the Newcastle side, led by Jack Digby. Logan calls the penalty, and it's a just one there, Peter.
Yeah, look, they play on quickly, but that was a very aggressive clean-out by the number 8 there.
Yeah, on the halfback as well. You can't touch the halfback.
Ralston wide now, and here come the Force. First real attacking chance.
Is that not part of the rules, or is that they kept that existing rule?
Henry Stowers taking over the 22. Nick Palmer with some good defence. Wagner gets the ball. Wagner winds up, and this time gets them almost over the 22. Now here comes McGregor. Inside ball goes to nobody. Holiday goes with it, and that's a penalty to Newcastle. So, early days, it's fairly even.
Yeah, look, I think they've just got to play a bit of field position. They can't get bogged down in this new rules and think they've got to run it from everywhere. Play the field position, get into their half, and then the game will open up. But don't want to blow too much energy too early.
Yeah, that's right. So far, just running out of their own half, they've just been going a little bit one out. And as we've been saying in the call, the Western Force have a really solid line, purely because they're not being tested. They're just having to make the tackles one off for this Newcastle Barbarian side. But now we see them in the opposition half. Hopefully they can show us what they've got.
Yeah, good touch finder by Holiday off the back. Here comes Solifudi. Solifudi taken nicely in a ball and all tackle. Ollie Callan was the man. Coming off the back, here's Holiday. Holiday throws the dummy. Oh, he's absolutely monstered.
Didn't fall for that dummy.
Yeah, they've almost fallen for it a couple of times. Good run, Tagalola. Now they come back. Long ball now. Here's Tave. Tave stepping around, trying to find a bit of space. Now Holiday gets the ball around the bootlaces, does well to offload to Ale, formerly known as Chris Pusey. Oh, the inside ball, flick pass. Jack Margin. And that'll be a penalty. So well worked, and that's a quick tap. Nice work there by Jordan. Jordan steps off the left, gets a flick pass to nobody. Scooped up off the ground. Holiday can't go with it. No one wants to dive on it. Still Newcastle has the ball. Tyson Davies is taken probably 30 metres out. And this is positive stuff here by the Newcastle side. Jordan now. Holiday. Holiday goes wide to Palmer. Palmer gets through, gets to ground. And again, one out stuff here. They need to mix it up a little bit more, this Newcastle side, as Holiday comes around the corner. A long pass out wide. Not the best ball by Davis, but it was there to be caught.
Yeah, I mean, what they're showing is they can retain the ball. Obviously, in the end, they're just a knock on the far right edge. But they're doing well at retaining the ball. But like you said in the call, they just need to vary it up a little bit. Getting caught probably all flat-footed in the one line, not giving too many options to Brendan Holiday and therefore...
Yeah, Mo, he just probably should have caught that a little bit in front of him.
Probably should have. He was just looking for the space on the edge, and he was maybe having a bit of a think about what he's going to do once he caught it.
Yeah, and we go back to that timing, Peter, as we go to the first scrum of the match here today. So the standard is pretty high. We're 5 minutes in.
Yeah, they're looking really good. They're showing some good passages of play. Got to get used to this line speed from the force. They're coming up quite quick, and the space they think is on the edge, but they've just got to work a bit harder to get over the advantage line.
So here they come round the back. McGregor, recipient of a wide ball, steps off inside ball, and here they come now, the force. There's support on the inside. Lacey gets it away, and this could be a try to Tafu, and Tafu goes over for the first try of the match. What about that? It just opened up. McGregor, he's the danger man in this back line, I think.
Yeah, everything that's been happening so far has been orchestrated by that man at the fullback, whether it be through counter-attack or in phase play, this time off set piece. Well worked play. Tave tried to shoot out, missed his man. Then McGregor, some nice little footwork there, links up with his outside backs, and then Henry Taifu. Not going to stop him from there. Well worked try there, Peter.
Yeah, look, this shows the combinations they've had throughout the last couple of years in a pre-season, just the support, and I feel as though that's going to be one of the keys in this rapid rugby, the support up middle of the field. And you see one winger to the 13, to the other winger to the 12. Good signs. When you've got two outside backs in the commentary, it's good signs.
Yeah, definitely. The link play was very good, particularly Lacey. He was under a bit of pressure to get that ball away, and he found his man, and they found the points.
That's Ian Pryor's 4,658 conversion.
Yeah, he doesn't miss too many, does he? So adds the extras there. 7 points to 0. I thought they were almost inside their 22 there, but threw the ball in for that 9-point try.
Just for the viewers at home, does the ball have to start, whether it be a ruck or a set piece, in the 22, or is it?
Yeah, no, you can't bring it back like
Sure.
a kick. So Holiday will do the restarts here. He will do the honours, just waiting for Jared Logan to get back into position. Finding plenty of space there. Other team who goes back into the in goals, and it'll come back.
It shows how strong that wind is. That'll come right back.
He's kicking against it.
It must be
swirls
swirling.
It swirls around in the stadium. So it's, all the way back. That's unfortunate there for the Newcastle side, and to be fair, that try was probably against the run of play as well. So they're not out of this contest yet.
Yeah, really important they just hold up their set piece here. Give the backs of this Newcastle Barbarian side an opportunity to put Western Force under a bit of pressure.
Both teams have got some strong forwards on the front rowers on the bench, though, Drew.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, Wes Thomas and Wayne Borsak from Newcastle Barbarians.
Yeah, Borsak certainly big player. Yeah, nice ball out wide, and just going to ground there, just not timing their run. And it'll come all the way back. There's Logan not happy with something.
Yeah, it was just the bind there from the Newcastle Barbarian side. McGregor's stepping up, looking to put it into touch.
I thought he was doing the Macarena.
That's later on when Jared Logan hits the dance floors at Fanny's. And kicked nicely into touch. That's a good touch finder, isn't it? He looks good, Jack McGregor, doesn't he?
Yeah, he had huge raps on him down at the Rebels. I'm surprised actually let him go. Then he popped up in Western Force. He's been here for a couple of years, but no, they spoke about him really highly down in the Rebels.
Well, they've won it there, the Newcastle side, so getting themselves out of danger. Holiday steps back into the pocket. Jordan looks like he may take the box kick. He does, and he is up and under, and Pryor goes for it. Goes back. That's all experience there as he flicks it back inside, but it's called a knock on there by referee Logan. His mother situated right in front of us here. Probably having a little punt. Loves the horses.
Newcastle having another opportunity here. Be interesting to see if they go back to where they started the game by trying to run it out of their own 22, or they try and find a little bit of territory and get themselves out of this pressure zone. My tip is that they'll try and run this.
So Tyzak Jordan, the halfback for the Newcastle side. Good scrum there by the Force, and they'll come up with the tight head. Picked up off the back. Stander goes all the way, and Stander, well, the defence there just wasn't by the Newcastle side, and that's another try.
That's some dominance there in the front row from the Force, and just an easy pick up and run to the line. It's good for Brian Stander, but not good for the Newcastle team in that case.
Yeah, strong push here from the Western Force forward pack, but then must be said the attempted tackle from Tave and also Tyzak Jordan probably.
Well, at least Tyzak Jordan put his head somewhere there and thereabouts. Tave stepped out of the way.
I was trying to be as nice as possible how I was trying to say it, but they'd be disappointed looking back at that.
Look, as wingers, Drew and I didn't have shoulders, we had strong fingers, but I think we would have stopped him. We would have held him at least.
Surely ran a bootlace or something. And Pryor, what was that, 4,735 now?
Been in the game a very, very long time.
Yeah, he's one of the good characters of the game as well, always up for a chat. He's always been good for the Bar TV sports crew. So Newcastle coming back now, 14-0 the score. And Holiday, which way is he going to go this time? And it's, again, he goes deep. The torpedo drop kick.
It's very hard to execute.
So quickly, they go wide early. McGregor again with the ball. Lacey on the far side, he's wrapped up. Alatamu comes around, he's now directing the game pretty well, Alatamu, as they go up the middle. That's poor defence again, and this time it's Pugh taken down. He was looking for support, no one was there. Alatamu this time goes to Wagner. He's taken the ground. Alatamu again, plenty of touches now. He'll take them on and try and slice his way through. Goes behind Standard to McGregor. Placid taken on the fall there. The Stowers hard to stop. Up to the 22, Alatamu. Placid looks like he's in a bit of trouble in back play.
Oh, he's had some real trouble with his knees, Jonah Placid, so we hope it's not the same injury.
Alatamu goes around the back. Lacey again comes in. And Placid looks in all sorts out there as Pugh drives forwards, drives towards the try line. Oh, lovely ball, finds the hole. Almost taken without the ball there, but play on Standard. This should be a try as Alatamu gets the ball. Long ball to McGregor. McGregor inside. Ball. Oh, what about that? Brad Lacey coming around McGregor with all the skills.
Well, that's fancy footwork there on the touchline, just tiptoeing, getting the board, almost jumping out, but throwing the ball back in. It's a great long ball. Knew where the space was. Really testing there. That's fantastic finishing.
Well, he looks like the Kenny Powers of rugby, doesn't he?
We said in the lead up to that try, Jonah Placid came back in on the switch, and it looked like his knee just sort of gave way under him, and he's still down on the ground, and he's been in a fair bit of distress at the moment. Got the doctors out there having a look at him, and I know that he went over to an old club of mine, Toulon, for a period of time and had some issues with his knee and a few injuries over there, so we're hoping it's not a repeat. He does look pretty disappointed, though.
Maybe just a bit of a stinger, we hope.
He's looking like he's going to try and jog on.
So Brendan Holiday being replaced.
Does seem to be his left knee, which isn't the one with strapping tape on it, so maybe it's just a bit of a bump.
And you could really see the class of the Force team.
This one comes down as Stander gets it on the 22.
Western Force is putting themselves under pressure. Newcastle Barbarians had an opportunity, but a slight knock on there from the Newcastle Barbarians, but Western Force just trying to play to width, coming out of their own 22.
Absolutely.
And Peter putting themselves under a bit of pressure there with some poor execution.
Yeah, look, a few subs just came onto the field then, maybe a bit disjointed, but it's important that the Newcastle team, come together really quickly when they have the subs and they can put some pressure on the Force. But look, they had a crack. That's what Barbarians footy's about, yeah?
Well, Jack Walsh has just come on in the 17. He's a late inclusion Australian 20s player for the Newcastle side.
You see, the Newcastle team's got some handy outside backs from the Ringer club there. Seb Wildman and Tyson Davies. Both had some experience winning some premierships down there, and Seb last year played for the Queensland Reds. So a handy little addition for this team, and hopefully a bit of their class can rub off from the team.
Yeah, certainly. Ellis Abraham standing in there. So Walsh in the 17.
In the Western Force, they're set up here. No one in the back in the pocket to look to kick here, so look for Standard to maybe take it off the back, link up with his backs.
He could really take it off the back here.
Yeah, he definitely could from before, but no, Pryor chose to go with it. Little short ball. It's Rolson taken to ground. So now looking for runners. There's Wildman getting involved in defence. Alatamu now comes back into the pocket. Walsh comes through. As we said before, Australian 20s. Fly half. Oh, good tackle there coming through. Placid. Certainly aggressive.
Nothing placid about that tackle.
There's Digby now. He comes up with the ball. Goes wide. Ale, he's been very busy, hasn't he, early on? The Newcastle-based hooker. There's Walsh. Oh, no look pass, was under pressure. And Mohi with a little chip over for himself.
Ooh.
Oh, just goes without it. It's a calamity of errors. The Force players running into each other. They regroup now. Find about 5 metres. As they continue to drive forward. Good control shown. Ollie Callan. That's an easy piggyback penalty up the field for the Force, where Newcastle, that was the most dangerous they've looked all game, wasn't it?
Yeah, had a pretty solid defensive line, so they should be disappointed of just giving that penalty away. Like you say, just piggybacking this Western Force team up the field. One thing that you need to bring when you've got, a composite team coming together for the first time is one is work rate and the other is discipline. You just can't put yourselves under pressure through poor discipline, whether it be infringements or just laziness, offside, that type of thing. And the other thing's that work rate. Just be available, get yourself in the game, work hard to get into position, and then it makes things a lot easier after.
I think Bubba Coleman will be a bit upset with some of the poor misses. You've got to add a bit of skill into that with that work rate. And I think if they can clean that up and not give the Force some easy yards.
Oh, here's McGregor again, inside ball. He's been involved, hasn't he? Coming off that other wing, Lacey, and joining up. It's been pretty effective as they go again to Pew. Driven back, gets it away though. Placid can be very dangerous from broken field. We know he's very quick. Top try scorer of the NRC. Was it last year or the year before? As McGregor now plays in a first receiver. Oh, what about that? Kachunu drives himself over the fullback there for the Newcastle side. They're short. They're 5 metres out. And here comes McGregor. You'd have to think they'll score. Oh, was going for his second there, Stander. And he has absolutely coughed that one up.
You can see there's some real class in this Force team, and Jack McGregor's had his hand in that again. Simple drop. I guess you'll rue that, but there's some real class showing in this Western Force team.
Yeah, they built that play nicely. K2 just going through there and absolutely steamrolling the last man in defence, the Newcastle Barbarians. But we saw Jonah Placid have another run there in the lead up to that try. We have seen the last of him this afternoon. He's just limped off the sideline. His knee just not good enough to continue.
Better to err on the side of caution. It is, of course, a trial here in Newcastle.
Drew, if you had that hooker running at you, do you fall for the dummy?
Oh, you're just trying to almost create a little bit of a speed bump for him, if anything.
Well, he did well to stop him. I wouldn't say stop him in the tracks. He held on for dear life. Now it comes back to Walsh, and Walsh gets it downfield. McGregor again, positioned well. Has Lacey coming around, and be interesting to see what he does. A little bit of a blocking play there by the Force, as Wildman was impeded. Alatamu comes off the back. Pryor, little knock on, wasn't expecting it there.
No, I think looking at this game in its early stages, the Force are doing a great job in winning the breakdown with 1 or 2, which means they've got the whole field to play rugby. And Newcastle are just getting a little bit tight. So, they've just got to trust their defences and stick to that width. Otherwise, the Force will go around them all day. Fairly decent crowd here as well at number 2 Sports Ground. Official crowd figures from our producer, 3,501. 3,501. So great to see out here in Newcastle. The Eastern Thunder, I believe, has been thrown up. No, exactly what you say. Now coming off the back. Oh, good footwork there. It was Tave. A few changes there. Fungapu comes on. Fungapo. Walsh. Ellis Abraham. Stocky inside centre. Jack Margin it is this time. Little pop pass, and here he is again. He seems to be the player they go to when they need to get out of trouble. Here's Walsh stepping off the left, almost finding a bit of space. Just caught up midfield there in that ruck, and it's going to be a Newcastle feed. They were going forward. Didn't have any options there, old Jack Walsh. Looked around him, a few guys lumbering back, so he just thought he'd take them on himself. Had a good turn of speed. Yeah, certainly the fitness is probably going to come into play as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a fitness, but also, I guess, the organisation. We see the difference in the Western Force phase play. They're able to set up those little plays, those blocker plays where we see McGregor getting the ball out the back, having the option on the inside, whereas you look at the Newcastle Barbarians attack, very much sort of one flat line, people willing to get over the advantage line and have a ball carry, but there's not too much enterprise and creativity around it. But that being said, they've come together today for a bit of a hit out, so really need to rely on just getting that advantage line, maybe getting an offload going, getting that second wave of play to try and get behind this Western Force defensive line.
Yeah, coming off the back. Here's Wildman. Wildman dances out of a tackle. Up over the 50. Upo. Good crisp pass from the back. Walsh now goes in front. Oh, that probably wasn't need to be thrown then. Just a bit of a catch and pass. But they come up with it.
He's certainly been prominent, Borsak.
Tagalola, first run of the game, and it's a good one.
Oh, he's in the side there.
They'll come all the way back. Good advantage played there by Logan.
Yeah, Ollie Cullen there just getting it wrong at the breakdown. His entry coming in from the side. They're the type of penalties that really frustrate not only the coaching staff but also your fellow teammates, because they had the Newcastle Barbarians covered. They had them under pressure. And just that perhaps decisions under fatigue. That's not the penalty, that one there, but he did come in from the side, man in the headgear.
So good chance here inside the 22 now, the Newcastle side.
This is some masterclass coaching by Bubba Coleman, putting on as many plays as possible without the touch judges realising.
Dummy comes down. Here comes Ralston. Ralston up the field. Oh, no. Sorry, O'Sullivan in the 23.
good skills.
Around the ankles, and good support play here by the Force. Over the top, nicely kicked, and it's going to be close. Ralston bounces up into his hands and goes over in the corner.
Very good use of the kick, great vision, and good lines there by the 13 to score in the corner, but a well-worked try. But I think the Newcastle had him under a bit of pressure there.
Yeah, it's just good footy all around. Alatimu just seeing that there's some space in behind, needed the bounce, got the bounce, and just classy finishing there from Ralston.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? And
that's what happens though. Once the Western Force, what we saw in the lead up to that try, the Western Force got behind the defensive line of the Barbarians, which meant that the outside backs of the Barbarians had to go to that breakdown, which then meant off the ensuing phases there was space in behind. Alatimu just identifying that, perhaps got a call from the guys out wide, or may have looked up and found it himself. But the execution was brilliant.
they look happy, don't they, the Force coaching staff?
Van the man. Van Humphreys.
Believe he saw the inside of the sunny side last night. Both coaches got to know each other, apparently.
Not sure where you're going with that.
It's a good night on the tiles.
I think what the Force showed then in this game, there's a lot of space. So there's, I think the Newcastle team can look to go to the boot a bit more. Don't have to play off every phase. You know, they can look for the corner, build some pressure, but they're doing a lot of running, this Newcastle team, and they're slowing a little bit.
So here's Walsh again. Pryor this time gets under it, goes to McGregor. McGregor goes to play early. Sullivan in the 23. He looks good since he's come on, and Katuno, since he's had the ball in his hands a couple of times, he's been dangerous, hard to put down, but they've put the ball down, and Newcastle now looking to expand quickly and early. They get over the halfway. Zach Crowley's come on the field for the Newcastle side. Premiership winner for Hamilton. McGregor now goes downfield, and that's the first error from the Force fullback here today. So a couple of players are coming on and off. It's like the Newcastle tram.
No, it's a warm.
It's working.
It's a warm afternoon out there, so staying on top of the substitutions is going to be a big part of the coach's job here. Saw some good carries though from the Barbarians, just in the lead up to that turnover. So they need to get behind this Western Force line, bend it, and try and play off the back of that.
Here's Welsh again. He's not scared to take on this line, is he? The young fly half. Oh, good run. So a couple of jersey changes as well out there, as now Davis tries to start something, tries to spark it up. Here's Palmer. Palmer, the skipper here for this Newcastle side. Here's Welsh in behind the line that time. Little box kick over the top. Probably not the right option there. They probably wanted to maybe look to build a bit more pressure, or if it was going to be direct towards the sideline maybe, guys.
No, you got the wrong club out of the golf bag there. They're going to come all the way back to the 40-metre line. It's gone dead in the Western Force in goal. Trying to relieve pressure on his Barbarian side, but the executions meant that put the pressure back on them.
Which way here, Drew?
Oh, the way that the Barbarians are set up, you'd have to play left here.
Yeah, Alatamu set out to the left. McGregor.
Yeah, they've got. I mean, if you get standard a throw in Pryor, you've got a 5 on, probably 3 with the halfback if he stays out.
So they'll have to set the good platform here as defensive structures. Alatamu, they do go left. That's a lovely ball to Lacey. Lacey with plenty of speed to burn. Gets up. He's still going. Palms one off. Going for the corner. Lacey!
It's a very, very good try. He's impressed me in the NRC, and he's had some really good touches today, but that's just some good strength and good speed.
Good strength, good speed, and also good balance. Got tested a few times there. As we said in the call, we went to their left, had the numbers. Got on the outside. 10 couldn't bring him down.
Yeah, that's young Crowley that's come on the field.
Yeah, and then he just managed to tiptoe down that sideline. It's a classy finish.
Yeah, there seems to be a Viking out on the field as well. Didn't have the name for him. He swapped his jersey.
Yeah, there's a few name changes, so we apologise if we're getting some of the names wrong on this Barbarian side, but a few of the guys have changed jerseys.
But he'll get this pride, do you think?
He doesn't miss.
Little hip wobble just to shake it out.
Went in Newcastle.
We'll get that out at King Street Hotel tonight. Don't worry about that as it goes. Ooh, goes wide.
He's made a liar out of you there, Peter Playford.
I'm not worried about Gareth mentioned about 8 pubs already.
just promoting the town. It's good to be here in Newcastle.
Getting yourself a bar tab, it sounds like.
I'll be straight back to the Seabreeze Hotel, Nelson Bay. As we go, of course, we must mention a few of the sponsors here today. Elders Insurance, of course, visit newcastle.com.au. The Newcastle Council, Slattery, Rams Home Loans, and Sharp Electronics. As now the Newcastle side come up with it. Kicking through is Welsh. Welsh doing a lot of individual stuff, but nothing quite coming off for him just yet as Callan cleans up. So again, they'll work it out of their 22. Oh, the ball comes loose. This could be a chance here. Here come the Newcastle
Here they go.
side. Can they get over? Oh, can they get over? Yes, they can. What a try.
Wildfires number 22 gets us on the board. Fantastic try to Wes Thomas.
It was a good passage play there. They put a bit of pressure on them and they get themselves a nice little 5 points with kick to come.
Yeah, Thomas it was.
Yep. We've got it down as Wes Thomas in the 22 jersey, but we'll confirm that soon. But like you say, Peter, there was some good pressure at the breakdown, forced a turnover, the ball spat out. And then it's just about getting the ball to space. Western Forces perhaps overcommitting, heading towards the sideline, step back inside, gets the first 5-pointer for the Barbarians.
And they convert as well. So
a drop goal attempt too.
Walsh, well, the youth of the day, they just haven't got time, have they, to stick around?
Tea not necessary.
Gen Y.
Newcastle's number 17, Jack Walsh, adds the extras.
So Alatamu now to restart, 37-7. While the Force, they've executed and done well. The Wildfires of Newcastle, they just lit it up then. So coming back is Davis. Penalty now to Newcastle. Quick tap taken. Good option. Up the field. Now it comes back and Wildman. Little tap on by Walsh. Probably would have been better served again to maybe take that in as Crowley on the far side cleans out. Jack Margin comes back and they go up high and over across the field. Pryor always safe. Gets the one-hander away. And now they're playing ad-lib. Here comes McGregor. Oh, taken. Lovely work there by Brennan. Oh, there's a bit of a scuffle here. There's Alex Hills.
Yeah, Alex Hills coming across in cover defence and just managed to get a good shot on McGregor before he could get his foot to the ball. Forced the turnover and gives the Barbarians opportunity at scrum time.
As the game gone on, the Newcastle team's starting to get a little bit of shape. Jack Walsh is taking control.
He's been good since he's been on, hasn't he, Walsh? He's, as we mentioned, a young player.
Late Macquarie.
No, that was Holiday who he replaced.
What's his background?
Holiday, tourism. As it comes down to Walsh, inside to Tarve. Tarve up over the halfway. Here's Walsh again.
Alatimu offside, gets penalised for it. Western Force just been under a little bit of pressure in these last sort of 5 minutes or so. They're starting to give away a few penalties, a few errors creeping into their game. Chris Alcock also joining this afternoon's action. Very experienced player. Western
he's been
Force,
around for
New South Wales Waratahs and also the Brumbies.
Yeah, quite some time, hasn't he? And he's been a fixture in this Force side the last couple of seasons. Coming off the bench here today. So Thomas, the try scorer. They go short. Here's Walsh standing flat. Under pressure, Tarve, flick pass. Oh, Wildman drifting across, dragging across, and drops the ball cold.
Yeah, just getting caught going sideways there. Latchley thinking about what he's going to do once he caught it. That was the crucial part he missed out though, Pete. So catching it.
Tyzak Jordan comes back on the field. Chittenden comes on in the 18.
Well, it's never nice when you make a drop and you find yourself running off to the sideline. Not the nicest feeling in the world. We've all been there.
Yeah, the Bubba Coleman hook. He's had a decent game though, Wyman. He hasn't had too many opportunities out there. And
look, I think with this wind, which is really favouring the Force, I think it's a 30-point breeze. I think there's still a chance.
Well, it often changes to a nor'easter in the afternoon here, so I'm just waiting for that switch come 5:15. Here's McGregor down the left. Has Lacey on the outside. He'll take it in himself and up to the 40. Flat ball, quick play. Good counter-rucking there by the Newcastle side. Chittenden getting involved earlier. Alatamu kicks wide to open spaces. Walsh turns around and, oh, that's a lovely kick, isn't it, by the Force fly half. As they go quick. Crowley, good step there by the young Hamilton fullback. Comes back to Walsh and McGregor forced to turn. He's been forced to do a fair lot of work here from the back. As he'll look to kick downfield. And good option. It's out on the full.
Well,
2 in a row.
Just putting a bit too much on that. It was only a matter of inches, but that's enough. But great, I mean, really good identification of space in the backfield. It's only a matter of inches. They come back into their own half now. I find that that's what they've been really good at this afternoon, the Western Force, finding that space, identifying when and where they should kick.
The camera's right in the action there at the line out. Couldn't come up with that one. Hills chased after it doggedly, but couldn't quite get it. Nice kick into open space there by Pryor. Tarve now looking for Crowley. Crowley under pressure. He's got a good cool head on him, the young fullback. And here comes Pugh. Pugh now to Alatamu. They're looking to go wide. Oh, that is
right on the chest.
not taking into account, and here comes Davis. It was a foot race.
Chris Alcock, he's obviously trying to get it out wide out to space, but that may get him a contract in the NFL or the XFL.
He was never known for his skills.
And of course, the XFL is. You're going over to join that? Is that why you're going?
No, the XFL. That's the Super League American football competition. But I am awaiting a visa to make my way up to the MLR, the Major League Rugby, to pull the boots back on and play for New York.
Yeah, nice.
Probably a little bit more excited about living in New York, but I've got to try and change that mindset before I get up there.
It's a very interesting way to move to New York, isn't it? Sure, there's easier ways to get a visa.
As Brennan, the Singleton Junior, was looking to come on the field. So the match well into injury time now. As Pryor steadies the ship at the back, as he always does. And this will be half-time here for the Newcastle Barbarian Wildfires taking on the Western Force. The Force ahead 37 points to 7. We're going to take a quick break and come back with all the second half action.
The Force 37 points.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to the Bar TV sports coverage of the Western Force coming over, taking on the Wildfires. We're going to have a Matt Hodgson here for our halftime interview from the Western Force. It's good to have him over here. He's flown with the team. He is, of course, a Western Force stalwart, and he's now in charge of operations here for the Western Force and indeed Global Rapid Rugby. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Good day out here, good weather, good area.
Oh, great area, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're from Central Coast originally, is that where you hail from?
Yeah, just up the road up at Avoca, so I get the duck home tonight and see the family, so tie business and pleasure together.
Yeah, nice, and plenty of things happening. Of course, a couple of weeks, the Global Rapid Rugby full season starts. Plenty to be excited for about that.
Yeah, launch in Perth in 2 weeks on the 14th. Just got to sidestep a virus and we'll be good to go.
Yeah, very good. You won't sidestep a Corona though, so as we.
Yeah, but we've gone for a major sponsor there, and it hasn't worked out yet.
Yeah, very good. And so plenty the rugby community in WA and in Perth, indeed, of course, the third biggest junior base, as we heard from Ian Pryor early on today. So plenty of things happening over there.
Yeah, so trying to continue a pathway there and build the local competition. This year we've got 12 local boys actually in the squad, so it's pretty exciting, showing that we can continue and give a professional pathway, and then try and make a go of it in Asia and the islands this year, and then try and expand next year to 8 teams and keep going. Who knows what's going to happen at the end of next broadcast deal.
Well, let me put this to you. Eastern Thunder playing out of Newcastle against the Western Force as the 8th team.
Oh, are you putting it together?
Yeah,
You're calling it now.
I heard Drew might sign up for it too.
Well, he's got the boots back on.
Yeah, I'm heading back up to New York, or not back up, but to New York. So, but tell us about some of the players in your squad. Like who for some of us who aren't particularly familiar with the Western Force and the Rapid Rugby, who are the players to look out for?
Obviously you've got a few boys that have stayed around since Super Rugby, Ian Pryor, Stander and that, but a young boy, Ollie Callum, a young number 7, actually went to rugby league for a little bit because the pathway disappeared for a while, but he's come back to rugby. He's a local boy that's playing number 7 today. And then you'll see our young 9s come on, one from a Gordon boy, Robbie Abel's brother, and then another local boy coming on. So it's pretty excited to sort of mix those ex-Super Rugby players in with the local talent and actually learn a fair bit.
And of course, young players as well. You've obviously grabbed a couple of good players, like Jack McGregor was saying before. He was one of the standouts there for the 20s pathway coming through the Rebels a couple of years ago, and from all reports and what we've seen out here, he's certainly kept that going.
Yeah, no, he's been great. We've grabbed him off Melbourne halfway through 17, and he's just really enjoying his football. I think that's what we try and do, is take a bit of that pressure off him and let him play rugby. And you can see at that age group, around the 20 to 24-year-olds, actually develop into young men and actually really go on with their rugby.
Mate, we saw Jonah Placid come off there with what looked to be a knee injury. He's had some history with some knee injuries in the past. Tell us it's not the same one.
No, it's actually his other one, but he doesn't have a PCL, so it pops in and out. So just more precautionary than anything. So he should be right. Given 2 weeks.
Oh, good.
Very good. And travelling, I guess, with the logistics of Global Rapid Rugby as well. Obviously, the Asia Pacific region, a very important region in itself. How's that all going? And you touched on expansion before. I know I threw you under the bus there, but where is the next step?
I think everyone knows that Japan's a market that everyone wants to get into. We're trying to give a pathway for them depending on what top league does. So they're one of an area. We've been talking to Newcastle, Greater Western Sydney, but then we've got the likes of Sri Lanka, India. These areas that have big populations, and we're looking at doing partnerships with other strong rugby unions as well. Pretty similar to what we've done with the China team and aligned it with a Mitre 10 Bay of Plenty there. So those sort of things where we can create 12-month calendars for teams is very interesting for players that play in Mitre 10 and the like.
Tell us a little bit more about the schedule moving forward for this Western Force side. Who are some of the big clashes that the viewers can really look forward to tuning into?
So we actually kick off in 2 weeks. Pretty exciting. We've got a double header. So actually Samoa are coming over, Hong Kong and Malaysia, all there in Perth. But I think the big games are going to be the one against China in Australia in Perth, and then also Fiji when we go into Fiji round 3. They've been training for a while. They got an experience last year, and I think they continue to build on what they've done in NRC and the like. Yeah,
certainly. We've had a bit to do with the NRC and stuff, and definitely the Fijian side. It's certainly helped their 15-a-side game come through. So a lot of the developing nations as well. Do you think this is a good step for them, and can you foresee some of these sides stepping up?
Yeah, definitely. I think Samoa are putting in a big performance. They're trying to sort of emulate what Fiji have done over the last few years. World Rugby are getting behind it, and we're looking at those two-tier nations that can actually try and keep a lot of the island boys at home, get them capped for Fiji and play more week in, week out football at a senior level.
Yeah, very good. Well, the teams are just about to come out onto the field. We'll let you go and get back down into it. Thanks very much for joining us up here. It's going to be great. Where can we watch the Global Rapid Rugby when we're over in Newcastle?
Yeah, so we're doing multiple things. What we're trying to do is spread it to a number of viewerships. So we're doing our own online streaming, Rugby Pass, KO, and those sort of things. So going for a bigger access, a bigger audience, and trying to get more people to watch the game.
Well, definitely when that Eastern Thunder side comes in, you've got a good production team over here.
It's good that I've already signed 3 today.
Very good. Well, we did mention that before, that we'd be commentating for a job here today. So thanks very much for coming in, and enjoy the night here in Newcastle.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Joe. So we come back now to the game, and Newcastle out on the field first this time. Here comes Pryor. It'll be Newcastle kicking off. Running towards the junction, the Western Force running towards Market Town. And the score 37 points to 7. Interesting chat there with the Western Force. Nick Hodgson.
Yeah, that's right. It's just, it's interesting and also very important that what the Western Force and this Rapid Rugby are trying to do is really grow the global game and go into some of those rugby strong areas that aren't particularly, well, they're not tier 1, tier 2 nations, the Sri Lankas, Malaysias and Chinas of the world.
Good kick off there as we go back to the action. Palmer comes through. Walsh with a flattish sort of kick. And this is Freeman in the 19 jersey, losing it. Donnie Freeman. It comes to McGregor, one of the players talked about at half-time. Plenty of big things expected from him this season. And you had a bit of a break at half-time there, Peter. You were down in the huddle. How was it?
Well, I went down looking for a sausage sandwich, and I ended up in the Newcastle change room, and Bubba Coleman, very animated, started questioning their motives do they want to play for Newcastle? What are they doing here? So I think you can expect a very fired-up Newcastle team in this second half.
Yeah, very good. Very passionate man, Bubba Coleman, about the Newcastle area. Of course, one of the original Wildfires when the team was in the Shoot Shield, until the bus trips got too much for everybody and Sydney Shoot Shield couldn't find a place for them.
They actually removed themselves.
Yeah, that's right. Best rugby song I've ever been associated with, though, the Newcastle Wildfires theme song. Ended with something along the lines, we might not beat you on the field, but we'll beat you in the boat race because we're going home by bus. The Force now with a line out.
Andrew Reddy just missing his mark there, looking to go the 6th ball at the back of the line out, not getting the timing or the throw right.
That's another pretty good buy for the Force. Reddy, he's of course been around for a while in the Queensland setup. Did he have a couple of seasons at the Waratahs as well? Or?
Reminds me a bit of Scott Johnson, the way he looks.
Okay, there's a bit of a lookalike out there, but yeah, I mean he had an opportunity as well. He's played for the Barbarians as well on the world stage, but a bit of experience. I've also got Heath Testament, not needed today, but he's in their ranks, a bit of experience in that hooker position as they get a tight head.
Yeah, Stando off the back. Stando almost running over his opposition winger there in Mohi. He brings him down, and Pugh played big minutes here today. Pryor digging for it. Alatamu, a little kick over the top, but Newcastle on the spot this time to take care of it. On the back foot though, and that's a clever kick downfield. They'll need the chase as Freeman leads them.
They've got him isolated if they can get him to ground.
Hugh Margin didn't win that race.
Another team are doing well there, just buying some time. Not enough though.
As Logan blows the whistle, so
it's actually really smart work there on their kick chase. The man who was 4th in for the Barbarian side, just closing off his angle to pass the ball infield, which meant that Alatimu had no other option but to try and take it on himself.
Yeah, Tyzak Jordan was the man who kicked it through. It was a good option there, good opportunity. Saw space in behind. So 37-7 the score. Here's the try scorer. Ball goes wide now.
Hold on.
Freeman's been involved, hasn't he, since he's been on the field, the Viking.
Yeah, Johnny Freeman. It's been busy. We spoke about that in the first half. Just need high work rate, effort areas. You have a decision every time you're getting up off the ground. Either you take it easy or you work hard and get into position.
So a few changes as well. Hardman, looks like the front row's coming from the field. So Hardman, Cheminade go on.
Number 17 and number 20 are on. Cheminade and Belhan.
So well-deserved break. They might see the back end of this half.
They're replaced by replacing number 1.
Solid scrum this time by the Newcastle side. Pryor takes the line on. Tifu taken out. Oh, that's a very good hit there on Alcock. A little bit disjointed here, the force.
They're trying to put a little kick over there. Not a good option. This one is, though.
Yeah, Walsh again sees a bit of space. McGregor comes across. Does well to evade the tackle there of Tarve. Tarve can't get him. McGregor offloads. And now comes around to the left. They need to shift it quickly. Elatamu goes in front of McGregor. Lacey tries to make the tackle and does just that. Or coming through there, Palmer trying to put the shot on, and they lose the ball. It's Thomas. Comes across. Ooh. They go in front of Palmer again.
Yeah, just look at the Barbarians, very flat-footed, one-off rugby, but they go out the back this time. Good change up. Get space.
Lovely ball there to Moe. Moe ran out of space there. He looks sharp on his toes, though, every time he's got the ball. Now, can the Barbarians put something together? Walsh calling for the ball. Flat ball to Brennan. Seen plenty of shoot shield in the last couple of years as Brennan. As Walsh, he's isolated. As they reset here, they look very disjointed, don't they, here, the Barbarians?
Doing well to maintain possession, though. I think the time will come. They can just keep holding this ball.
Favali. Oh. Hills. They saw him coming, and that's what happens when it's one-out stuff. But as you said, they're holding possession nicely. Somehow it bounces up into the arms of the Newcastle side. It's Chittenden. Favali gets them up over the 40. Jordan to Freeman. Freeman tries to get his arm free, just can't deliver the pass.
There's a simple knock on at the end there, but that just really comes off the pressure the Western Force defensive line is putting them under. You guys spoke about it in the call. They're retaining the ball well. They're not doing anything in terms of variety of attack, which means the Western Force aren't really put under any sorts of pressure, and they're able to maintain a really solid line in defence.
There's not many options you can do there other than just rolling it in or turning it back inside to try and penetrate that line, or just putting it over the top. But By just doing one out
I think
holding the ball.
just changing it up. Maybe they need to go through the middle, couple of pick and drives, suck in some of the Western Force defenders and then go wide, rather than just having the same one-out runners, one off the ruck each time. I mean, like we said, that their endeavour is great, their intent is fantastic, but you've just got to try and change that up, vary it up a little bit, make the Western Force make decisions as opposed to just having to make a tackle.
Because Jack Walsh, he's got some good distribution skills, but it is throwing to the outside and enabling the Force outside men to really push up on him. If he had an inside runner...
Well, he's just come from the field, Walsh, and Holiday's back on. From his, dare I say it, sideline vacation.
You said it.
I did. Didn't mean to. So Pryor just letting his scrum do the work, but no, that's going to be a penalty. And it's one of those ones, isn't it? Scrum time, and you just don't know why.
Yeah, that's for me.
They're moving forward.
As a back for me,
forward.
yeah, they're going forward, but you just got to get that ball out.
Look, I think
we're rapid rugby. We want to see tries. We want to see long ranges. McGregor had something set up. He was talking to his winger on his outside. He had something going on out wide.
you can see there a good ball strike there from Borsak. As the ball came in, he really pushed through, and you could see Chris Alcock sliding up, and he got the pressure points there.
Palmer off the top. Here's Holiday. Holiday runs the line. Gets a short ball to Freeman, who can't go with it. Puts him under all sorts of pressure there. The late Macquarie fly half. As we'll see here, Holiday just drifts across field and probably should have gone to the ground with that one maybe, but in any case, it'll be another scrum. So this time inside the 22. I'd like to see a 9-point try attempt. Of course, 9 points if they can score from inside their 22.
And convert.
And convert. Well, Pryor, he's had his one miss for the year.
If they're scoring from the 22, there shouldn't be much. There should be a bit of daylight around them.
Well, here comes Pryor now. McGregor picked up, driven to the ground.
Just so I know, if they score from this phase, I'd have to score off the set piece.
It's from every phase, Peter.
Okay, so whenever they start that phase.
Number 25, Jake. Strapping is replacing number 15, Jack McGregor.
Jake Strawn, of course, has come into the Force, and he's come onto the field, and plenty of raps on him as well. And just out of curiosity, and you guys probably know better than me, is Nick Juiced, is he still in the Force setup? Was a young kid coming through in the NRC, and
I'm not too sure, to be honest.
They had plenty of raps on him, but well, he's not featuring here today. His huge margin comes off again.
He's quite a tall fella and flying from WA's. It's quite a long flight. May not have done well for the back.
Good scrum here, Holiday. Down, round to Coffee. Veteran winger in Newcastle. He owns the Pinpoint Gym where the Wallabies, the Waratahs, the Rebels have all trained. The Brumbies came here and trained in his gym this year, and that's a penalty.
Well, I don't know if it is. He had a genuine crack at that. We've seen it being adjudicated this season that if you have a genuine go at it, it's just been
scrum.
A scrum ball to the team intentionally receiving the ball. I felt there he had a genuine crack at trying to intercept that ball. I think it's one of those ones.
It is one of those.
It's one of those ones where it's a penalty. It's not worth a penalty. If someone's going down to slap the ball down, it's cynical. I agree, penalty all day. But if you're going for the ball, you've got every right to have a go at the ball as much as the other team does.
Yeah, no, agreed. Certainly an archaic law.
Another change for Wildfires. Number 4, Jack Margin. Replaces number 5, Nick Palmer.
So Margin back on the field. The captain, Nick Palmer, the local hero. Done good. The local boy, Made good.
Chicken.
Comes from
Chicken Palmer.
comes from the field.
Where's the best chicken parma served in Newcastle?
The Commonwealth Hotel, where the function will be tonight. Very, very good chicken. Well known for its schnitzels. The Gold Rush was my favourite back in the day. Oh, short border coffee there and flick pass back to Jordan. Good skills by the winger. Now it comes to Holiday. Holiday 5 metres out. I thought he was half a chance there. Now he calling for it on the wing. Oh, nice ball. Dobson it was. Flick pass, Crowley. Moe just runs out of room again. They just creep across a little bit too much again, the Barbarian side.
Dancing on the sideline there. In fact, I think he trod on the touch judge's shoe.
The referee going back for an earlier infringement, just in front of the posts, not rolling away.
Take some points
Yeah,
here.
take the
release
points.
pressure.
Well, I mean, it's no points so far in the second half.
Yeah, it's been good defence, and it seems like the Newcastle Wildfires Barbarians have been camped down there for a time as Reddy comes up with it. Pryor, a little kick over the top. Cheeky kick, turning around Billy Coffey. Crowley comes up with it. He's got very good footwork. He's somewhat isolated though as Coffey comes in. They go short side. It's opened up here. Oh, the inside ball to Holiday. If he had have got that away, Alatamu would have struggled to take him down, and they're inside the 22. Alatamu comes back into the pocket. Go to him. They look to play wide though.
Standard just trying to push that one. They come back to the earlier infringement.
So Abel coming on into halfback.
Played under Darren Coleman at Gordon last year, part of the Abel tribe. Getting his opportunity. This is what the Force does, right? It enables those players who are on the fringe to go over there in a professional environment. I think it serves a really good purpose in Australian rugby at the moment.
Both teams just taking an opportunity to have a chat and get some water. Been pretty fast play out there.
Yeah, plenty of water, getting them self-hydrated, getting them ready for the last
The NHRU would like to thank
25 minutes of play.
the sponsors that have helped us put on a fantastic day of rugby and helping us get the Western
Been a
Force
better
over
showing
here
by
to,
Newcastle in the
go
second
rugby.
half. The halftime speech really worked.
Those sponsors are
They're starting to get their shape, a little bit more intention, as Drew said in the first half. Their work rate has picked up. They're starting to look a bit of a better side, which should be expected as they've now had about 57 minutes of footy under their belt. Good signs for them. It'd be great if they can get a team up here in that rapid rugby.
Grr, grr.
You think the region's ready for it?
Yeah, definitely. You can tell by the crowd of, well, they're saying 3,500, but I say it's closer to 4 here at number 2 Sports Ground.
You'd know, you've probably seen this place
I've seen
filled
it
to the
heaving.
brim. Yeah.
I've seen it heaving. We've had the Country Eagles play here. The grand finals, of course, always played here, and obviously with a lot of out-of-towners coming up from Sydney, they haven't partaken on the hill on the far side. They're all in the stands. As Abel cleans up off the back.
Well done, Donny.
Little knock on there, and
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of fatigue slip in also, or meaning that it's a bit scrappy the last 5 minutes or so. Just need some of the leaders out there on the field just to kind of pull the guys in, Just go back to some sort of simple structures, build that foundation again. Western Force probably getting a little bit frustrated that things aren't working quite as easily as they were in the first half.
First half, the Force had a lot of firepower, and
a couple of changes.
Second half, it's just fallen away. Drew.
Oh, I mean, I think it's there. Just need that little pill in their drink at halftime. Bit of no-dos or something to keep them going.
Well, they might get that at Fanny's tonight as it comes across the field. Again, they crab across. Brennan goes in front of him. Dobson. And the Force come back. Here's Alcock. Ball sack around the feet there. Nice tackle. Over the top. Inside ball, lovely. Oh, that's almost floated forward. The crowd calls for it, but they continue on.
You've got to reward good rugby. Great refereeing there.
So the Force on a roll. Lee Warner, he hasn't seen too much of the ball today. Alatamu kicks across for Coffey. Coffey. Oh, lovely tackle there. Picks up. Well, good awareness by the winger.
He's just done 2 rucks.
Should have called Mark for that one. Get himself under a bit of pressure.
Abel off the back. Abel is almost over the line. The defence here from Newcastle has to toughen up. Is he over? He's very close. As it comes back. And Stander. He looks a little fatigued out there. Oh, lovely work then for Varley. Kick down field by, was that Hills?
Yeah.
Now they're counter-attacking here again, the Force. This could be trouble. Tifu called back. This time he gets the forward pass. Referee Logan.
That's just effort from the Barbarians.
2 more changes for the Wildfires.
I mean, by all accounts, if that fatigue hadn't sort of set in, the Force should have scored there for sure, just picking and driving.
It was good work at the breakdown, just getting under. Relieving the pressure with the kick was Alex Hills. That's the man that puts the pressure on the last pass as well, where it's crept forward. So huge double effort from that man. He's earned himself a break now. Just come off.
So Jordan, Tyzak Jordan with the ball. And the Force. Ready. He's been around a while, hasn't he? Better part of a decade.
Barbarians, the way their body language is suggesting they're going to have a crack here in their own 22. Looking for maybe the afternoon's first 7-pointer.
Holiday goes wide. They run the outside line, get a ball away. Coffey's on the outside. Crowley gets the ball away to Coffey. Coffey, we know he's very strong in the tackle, but he's brought down just on halfway.
That's how we like all our coffee, strong.
That's right. He's certainly no Piccolo.
There's been some bad pun jokes this afternoon. We apologise to our viewers.
Yeah, Holiday goes wide immediately. It's good enterprising stuff from the Barbarians, and that's in the spirit of the game.
Great kick.
Yeah, good strength in the tackle, getting that offload away. And that's a huge touch finder. Gives this Barbarians a real solid platform. This one of the gentlemen has just run on without a jersey. Look, they've been swapping jerseys, which it's been making it difficult enough. But what running on without a jersey's almost taking the Mickey.
They can borrow my Sharpie if they want, and we can colour one in. As Ale looks like he's back on the field as well. Comes back Alatamu. Billy Coffey. Here's Crowley. Crowley's been impressive, hasn't he, coming from the back since he's been on the field. Certainly not afraid to take on the defensive line. As Wright bounces around. Another one of the jersey changes. It was named in 28. He's out there on the 9. They come over the top here, the Force, and they've done well to get that. Alatamu, he's isolated. He goes wide though. Ralston was flung around there and they set up just 5 metres from halfway. Here's Alcott. Again, just running out of space here. Both sides tending to drift across the field. So 15 minutes remaining. And the Force haven't scored a try. So Stander gets away, has support on the inside. Finds it just as I said, they haven't scored a try. Well, they do just that. There's Jake Strawn.
Yeah, Jake Strawn finishing off some really good lead-up play there from Stander. Just finding some space on the far right-hand edge. Alatimu playing it in behind. And Strawn who actually passed it to this man here, Stander. Little dummy pumping, just a strong fend to get off to push Billy Coffey away. Holding it up nicely back to that man who started it.
Yeah, from there it was open space, wasn't it? And fairly easy try in the end. It just was something. They were pushing, they were pressuring, and the weight of possession just got to this Barbarian side, Peter.
Yeah, Stander's been a real handful out in the fringes today, and he's powerful running, and as we went back to again, the support play of the Force is quite superior, and you know, it took them 25 minutes to break through, and let's hope the floodgates don't open. But you know, it's been a better showing from Newcastle. I think they've still got a few tries in them.
42-7. Alatimu takes over the kicking duties from Pryor. He got behind that, didn't he? That's almost gone over and got some henny penny from Arcatown, that ball. He put so much pepper on it.
And it's earned him, I think, a rest now for the rest of the afternoon. He's making his way from the field.
Yeah, good game. He controlled the game when he needed to, didn't he?
Works well in tandem with Jack McGregor. They both take up the playmaking duties really well.
So number 5, Fergus, Lee Warner, and
So the Force come down with that one.
is replaced by
Quick ball now. Here's Strawn. The try scorer. Abel comes from the back. McGregor back on the field. Now he's playing fly half. Oh, short ball, and somehow finds the gap. Callan looking for support. Looking for Abel. He gets to Abel. Abel, can he link up? No, he can't. So this will be a try on the far side. Brad Lacey.
It's a great try there from the Western Force. That man that Matt Hodgson spoke about at half-time, young Olu Callan, running a really nice line, a tight line right next to the ruck. Halfbacks found him, Abel. He's then backed up.
Yeah, did well. And we spoke about Abel there at half-time as well, and they just ran out of space, and Ralston goes over in the corner.
Yeah, importantly, again, the identification of where the space and where the ball needed to go to after the line break was really good there. Knowing they need to get the ball wide. Billy Coffey shot out, wasn't able to shut the play down. Western Force, their silky hands, just good enough to get it on the edge.
And the variations in attack, as we spoke about, and Drew mentioned in the first half, you know, mixing it up, the 9. The 7 runs, Ollie Cullen runs a really nice line off the 9, which the defenders aren't looking for it. He gets a break through, and we have 7 points
in or out.
Potentially in the corner. I'm calling it early, 7 points.
It's coming around, McGregor. What about that? It's in, 7 points.
If you've got hair like that, you've got to do something well.
He's done a lot well this afternoon, that man.
He'd be close getting our Elders Insurance Man of the Match.
Yeah, Danny McBride, a la Jack McGregor.
Makes the score out to 51%.
So 51-7 now the score. Ten minutes remaining. No look pass there by Strawn, and the Newcastle side now has the ball. Ale was calling for it. They go behind. Looks like Walsh is back on the field as well.
There he is.
Oh, lovely goal. Walsh again flings it out. Floats forward.
If I'm the Western Force team, I'd have a good look at this Jack Walsh. I think he's showing some really, really good signs, and he'd be perfect for this competition. And he's someone, based on what he's showing today, that you'd take a bit of a punt and invest in him.
Well, only 18, and only an 18-year-old as well, so.
Looks like he's got a bit of a league background in him, the way he takes on the line. And
Yeah. He's not, certainly not put down, is he, by this Western Force, this bigger side. He's a slip of a fly half as well, isn't he?
Yeah, just liked his temperament around. You know, we've spoken about it. They're a team that's come together last minute, but he's controlling things well. He's got a bit of time in a more organised sort of setup. Interesting to see how he operates with some nice structures around him, and then just picking and choosing where and when he wants to play.
Well, there might be some opportunities with the Southern China Knights.
Yeah.
In the Rapid Rugby.
I think it's the
Malaysian
South
side.
China Tigers.
The South China Tigers, okay. There might be some opportunities given the availability of some players based in the region.
Well, it's Bay of Plenty, isn't it, the sister club for the China side? Brennan comes from the field. Gee, he went to Sydney as a lock. He might come home as a front rower. Good body, good off-season body there from Brennan. I've known him since he's a kid. And the Force, they're driven back this time, so plenty of bite still in this Newcastle defence. Ready. Oh, bumps one off. Perth Life certainly chiseled him up, hasn't it? Ready. That one kicked into space again. Crowley has Coffey on the outside. Coffey gets away from one. Oh, puts a foot out. Would have been interesting. There was Strawn coming across in cover. The one-on-one, he hasn't got much. He hasn't got much of a sidestep, Billy Coffey. So Jack Strawn, his eyes probably would have lit up here.
He's done well since he's come on. He's been busy in and around. He's got a good little combination going with his halfback, looking for little snipes as he's tiptoeing down.
I think
he certainly doesn't miss chest day, does he?
Yeah, well, I think maybe the weight from up top just pushed him over the sideline.
As I said before, he's a personal trainer, and he does have the pinpoint gym here, which, yeah, the Rebels, the Brumbies, all the sides that come here all come in. He's very specific, and I think he's got one in Sydney as well.
You obviously don't have a membership, was he?
They don't have one at Nelson Bay, mate.
And if they did?
If they did, it'd have to be at the sea breeze on the balcony.
We're into the final 8 minutes here. Number 2 oval.
Number 2 sports ground, yep.
That's it.
Ironics should be number 1, but in any case, as McGregor comes around, here's Strawn. Long pass out wide, but again, the cover comes across Chittenden this time. Oh, little
Yeah, that was a touchy
Something
call.
to say.
This referee's assistant calling that one.
I thought that was all right. Louis Holland injecting himself in the game.
It's all about where it comes out of the hand. Looks as though it maybe...
Ooh, it's a tough
That's all
call,
right,
I
isn't
think.
it?
It's more backwards than the one he missed earlier.
Yeah.
That's all right. Now the Barbarians have it. The Bushfires. Sorry, the Wildfires.
And the bushfires pre-Christmas, wildfires after Christmas, Drew.
Yeah, my apologies for that.
Of course, our thoughts go out for all our listeners in country New South Wales that are doing it tough.
But they have an opportunity here at set piece time.
They certainly do on halfway. Figupo's back on the field as well, and Walsh to the left. He's generally been the go-to, and Wildman's on the field as well. Ellis Abrahams is
Wildman on a split here on the overs.
so Abrahams and Walsh, he goes himself again. Just overrunning the play. His outside runners. Looking to take on the line. Probably need to release that a little bit earlier. As Palmer back on the field, the captain. Here's Abrahams. Davis looking for the flick pass. Chittenden stands strong and he goes up the field. Here's Walsh. Wildman left standing and has to take on the defence, and they come up with the steal and the turnover. McGregor's on the outside. Turn back on the inside. You have to be close to being best out there today, McGregor.
He's had some really handy touches and controlled this game, both from fullback and now in the number 10 position.
Pryor's on the field as well. Looks like he may be standing in a fly half. McGregor going back to fullback. Good defence by the Barbarians. Pryor. Nice ball. Katuno he's dealt with though, and he's taken nicely. Pass to himself. He does well to hold on to that. The force side was swarming. Oh, this is going to be an intercept, and it's going to be Strawn under the posts.
Looking likely all day.
That's O'Sullivan.
O'Sullivan.
Strawn
He's
has
second.
the head strapping. O'Sullivan with the headgear.
Forces number 23, Rory O'Sullivan.
They've been throwing those passes out that way all game, and about the third or fourth time they had a crack at it, and one went their way. But it would be interesting if you didn't get it. There's a lot of space out there for Newcastle, but that's not the story they're going to tell. You can see here.
Yeah, they knew it was coming. So, in front of the sticks and McGregor.
Number 15, Jack McGregor adds the extras.
So, he's told Pryor to take a rest, and he wants on McGregor. Good party atmosphere here all night. Number 2 Sports Ground. The music's pumping. The crowd certainly hasn't left. The score, it's blowing out now, you'd have to say.
The Wildfires still have one more crack in them. A couple of minutes left.
Nice defence again. He comes back to McGregor. McGregor again, another touch. And they go wide, playing on the edges. Lovely ball back on the inside. Coming across, will he need support? No, he won't. It's Alcock.
Trying forces number 22, Jacob Aiden.
That was great play here. McGregor identifying the space out wide. Henry Taifu with the ball over the top to Alcock. And then that's Strawn on the edge. This is a lovely ball back inside. Just weighted that nicely. And apologies, but we don't have that gentleman's name with the jersey list that we have, but nicely finished. There's been a lot of jersey swaps here this afternoon.
Took them a while to get going in this half, but when they found their feet, they found their feet. They really put them to the sword now. This to be 65-7, and I think it's been a better showing from the Newcastle team in the second half, and they won't go home disappointed.
37-7 at half time.
Yeah, we probably knew there was probably going to be some late points given the Western Force have been through a professional pre-season and this composite team just coming together. A good showing from this Newcastle Barbarians, but the Western Force just showing their class this afternoon.
Yeah, they've done well to come together here, the Newcastle Barbarians. Their first captain's run was this morning. So coming up against the side, as you said, playing professionally, training, structures all summer. Here comes McGregor. As Wildman stands up, McGregor drifts across. Oh, good ball there, and
great.
Bouncing out of a couple. Long, the flick pass to Pryor. Inside the 22, picked up, down the touchline, and that's it. Another try.
That is fantastic balance.
Yeah, showed very good strength, didn't he, Makara, down that sideline.
Strength through the hips. He's a spatial awareness to know where that sideline is. And then to stay involved and get the ball back up off the deck. More strength, more balance, and a great finish.
Well, that's his first touch of the game as well. Let's not forget, he's only just come on the field.
We needed to see that man earlier. There's one. This one's great, just to spin around and keep his pace up.
Nice little flick pass.
And to get up again off the ground.
Effort on effort, that's it. And another missed tackle.
Yeah, Davis around the legs, but they're tree trunks for legs, aren't they? And
great individual try there to finish off the game. Back him in or out here, Drew. This will be the final one.
This is his.
He put the cherry on top and finish it.
His good side too.
His hair or?
Both. His left side's his best side. Comes across, comes in, and the flags go up. So they're going to play a little bit of injury time.
Yeah, there was a time there where both teams had a bit of a break, bit of a water break. The clock here at the ground kept going, but the referee obviously stopping his, so we'll just go by his whistle.
We will, but getting back to the game, there's plenty of positives out there for the Force. They would have come here expecting quite a big score, you'd imagine, but to take out of it, I mean, the forwards certainly in that first 20 with their starting forward pack, the front three were very good, I thought, just really controlling the scrum. Certainly at the set piece, at the line out and stuff as well, they were very well controlled too.
Yeah, we spoke about that at the start of the game, about the need, the necessity for building a foundation which will allow the likes of Alatimu, McGregor to really orchestrate things out wide. And we've seen some nice enterprising play out wide from the Western Force, but because of the foundation the forwards were able to lay up front.
Yeah, and they'd have to be happy with their defence. You know, they've set a good platform there and to only allow 7 points. And in that second half, Newcastle were pounding away at their line and didn't come away with anything. So some really good signs for the Force, but I also think Newcastle's shown a lot, you know, for a team that's just come together. They've matched them in the scrum in certain phases, and you know, taken a real positive out of Jack Walsh. I think he's a name that we should all look at, and I think he'll be great, and maybe in Australian sevens or maybe for higher honours later on. But been a super impressive.
And certainly the fullback that came on as well for this Barbarian side, Crowley, I thought he was quite impressive too. He always beat that first man and set up his wingers nicely on the counter attack. Certainly those two players for me have been the best out there for Newcastle today. Then Placid as well. They've got plenty of depth, haven't they? The Force coming into this grrr season, the Global Rapid Rugby. Yeah, Makara comes on. Jonah Placid has only probably played about 15, 20 minutes. And they've certainly got plenty of firepower out wide. As they come up the field again. Here's McGregor. O'Sullivan
look like a really well-drilled team, and you can see the hours and hours they put on the practice field. They probably don't get the games that they probably like, but it's great for them to bring a game up here to Newcastle and show the fans what they can do.
Yeah, definitely coming out there. Quite parochial, the Newcastle fans, as we know. Coming across from Makara, bounces up into his hands. That's the hit of the day.
Seb Wildman.
He does well to get across. It bounced up nicely into the hands. That's going to be full time. The score 72 for 7. Thank you very much, Peter Playford, as always, and Drew Mitchell for coming up in the Bar TV Sports commentary box. Of course, we'd have plenty coming up on the network. Your highlights for the game quickly before we go.
Like I mentioned it before, but I think Jack Walsh showing as a 10 coming on. Really impressive signs for Newcastle.
Yeah, I just think some of the long-range tries, and also the sole try from the Newcastle Barbarians is probably the biggest cheer all afternoon when they went over there for their first try. But I also think just bringing a game to the regional parts of the country, Newcastle on this occasion is fantastic in growing the game nationwide.
Yeah, definitely, and looking forward to watching Global Rapid Rugby, and of course including the current rugby as well, the Waratahs, the Test, Shoot Shield coming up, so plenty to look forward to here on the national footprint. Thanks very much to Elders Insurance, Sharp, Rams, Newcastle Herald. Visit Newcastle, Slattery Auctions, and of course Bar TV Sports, the kings of live stream media. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Please drive carefully when you're heading home. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.